Hello, Steve, Canadian Sasquatch, coming at you with another Mead Monday. That's right, it's time to drink some mead and answer your questions. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Today we are drinking Thorin's Viking, Thorin's Nightly Mead. It's got a pretty cool label here. It's 12.9%. It's in a Belgian beer bottle with a beer cap. Let's crack it open and see what happens. A little bit of a hiss. So the bottle does say may contain sediment. So we shall see what happens. So yeah, a little bit of sediment in there. It's a little cloudy, not too bad. Let's go ahead and get the aroma. So there is a slight off aroma in there. Not quite sure what it is. Maybe some fusel alcohols, but not getting any sweetness from it, from the aroma at all. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and give it a taste. So there is a slight hint of carbonation in that, as you can tell by the small hiss on the bottle. It's like a semi-sweet. There's like a little menthol action happening on the tongue, so like that little tingly bit, which is not unpleasant. I must say it's a pretty tasty beverage there. If only it was crystal clear. So let's go through the scoring, shall we? So the label, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 2. It doesn't say what kind of mead it is. It doesn't say when it's bottled. It does tell me that it was 12.9%. It did say it was Thorin's Viking out of Marble Falls, Texas. So it is a Texas mead. So yeah, 1 out of 2 on that. The aroma. I'm going to give it a 6. There's nothing spectacular about it. There is that little fusel something off aroma on it. It's not off-putting, it's just there. The appearance, I'm going to give it a 6 as well. It's a nice light yellow, golden yellow. It could use a little bit more clarity, but they did warn me on the bottle that it may contain sediment, so there's the sediment floating around in there. So yeah, the appearance 6. Flavor though, I'm going to give it a 7. That's a nice, pleasant, light mead. A little bit of the fusel, methanol on the tongue, but not that bad. It's definitely a lot tastier than some of those other ones that we've been going through. Overall, I'm going to give it an overall of 6, I think. It's a nice, pleasant mead. It's drinkable. It could be much better though, relatively easily. Just get rid of the sediment, and I think that would help quite a bit. So what's the score? The score is 26 out of 42. It's drinkable. It's very drinkable. I'm quite enjoying it. Just some tweaks to their process, I think, and it would be really, really good. So yeah, with that, let's get into one of your guys' questions. And it's actually appropriate with the cloudiness, because a couple of you have asked about dealing with cloudy meads. So why are they cloudy? Because I got the stuff floating around in them. Quite often it's the yeast that's in there, but sometimes it's still the junk from the whatever we use to flavor the meads with, or even the honey might still have some of the proteins from the bees and whatnot in there. So that's what's floating around in there causing things to be cloudy. One of the reasons why those particles stay in suspension is because of CO2. And as we know, this mead right here is slightly carbonated, so that's just enough to keep some of that stuff in suspension. And because of the CO2, that's one of the reasons why we degas when we're making mead. As we're going through primary, we degas because all the particles that stick to the carbon dioxide floating around, we degas, carbon dioxide goes off. This guy's got nothing left to attach itself to, so it falls to the bottom. So that's why we degas, is to help get that CO2 out, to help clarify the meads quicker. And then once all those things have fallen to the bottom, then what we need to do is rack it off so there doesn't have a chance to get back up into the mead. We just use, so we degas it, everything falls down, and then we rack the mead off of the stuff that causes the clouding. Another way we can help encourage everything to fall out of suspension is to do what we call cold crashing. And that's where you put it into a fridge or a freezer, or even outside at temperatures between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or 0 and 5 Celsius. What that does is it causes all the yeast and particles to want to clump together to stay warm, because that's what you do when it's cold. You cuddle. So they all clump together, which causes them to weigh more, so they want to fall out of suspension. And then once they're out of suspension, what you can do is you rack it off, leaving behind that layer again to make sure it doesn't float back up into suspension. Another way for us to clarify the mead is to use what we call finings. This is where you add something to the beverage that attaches to the particles, and that causes everything to fall out of suspension because they're weighing down some more. Typically in beer, use gelatin. Yes, the same stuff that they make Jell-O with. You just mix that up, put it in the beer, stir it up, and that will cause everything to clump and fall down. Another thing that the beer people will use is isinglass, which is similar to gelatin, but it's actually made from fish bladders. So if you want fish bladders in your beer, use isinglass. Guinness likes it, although Guinness has recently changed over to using a vegetarian option to appease all the vegans out there. For meads and wines, we typically use bentonite clay. Also, one of the brands of that is Sparkaloid, and that's essentially, it's a clay that you will heat up in a little bit of water, and you boil it for about 15 minutes, and then you dump it into your mead or wine and you stir it up. I quite often like to do that and then cold crash it at the same time, so it causes everything to clump together faster and drop out faster, because as we talked about cold crashing, it wants everything to cuddle together to stay warm, and then falls out of suspension because everybody weighs more than they do by themselves. And when you get wine kits, you'll often get 2 pouches of finings, chitosan and chitin. And why you have two of them is because quite often when you're trying to clarify stuff, you have two types of ions. You have a positive ion and a negative ion. And some of the particulates that are in suspension are either positive or negative. So you use chitosan for one of them, and then you use the chitin for the other. So they connect to those positively and negatively charged ions of the particles, and they weigh more and fall out of suspension again. And again, chitosan and chitin are made from things of crustaceans, like shrimp. So again, if you're trying to go vegetarian, vegan, then that's not the thing for you. But since we're making mead, we are not vegan, since honey is not a vegan product. So to recap, so what you want to do to make a brilliantly clear mead is degas, rack, cold crash, and then fine it. That's all there is to it. And with that, we're at the end of our Mead Monday. Thank you guys for watching, and if you've enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button down below. Then you'll be notified anytime one of my videos come out, where we talk about some tasty meads, or I do have other videos that I'm planning on doing coming up soon, so you'll want to be notified for some of those. And these Mead Mondays wouldn't be possible without your guys' support, so I need questions. You guys gotta shoot me your questions. Give me the questions down in the comments below, or hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. My links are below for those. And with that, guys and gals, should have a pint of awesome. I know I will. Cheers, everybody.